This is John Kohler with DiscountJuicers.com to have another exciting episode for you. What we're going to cover today is should I buy a new juicer? So what I mean by that is, many people will find my videos because maybe they already own a Breville juicer or they own a Champion, and they're thinking about getting a new style juicer, maybe like a Green Star, Twin Gear, Elite juicer, or a Omega Vert, or even like an Omega 8005 or 8006 style machine, which is right here. But you know what? I don't always advise people to buy the upgrade. Now, why is that? Well, you know what? I could only compare that to like another household common item that I own, and I often get the upgrade, So I'd like to compare the juicers to something that you're much more familiar with, because most people aren't familiar with juicers like I am. And here's something that I'd like to compare juicers with. These guys right here. It's shoes. You're like, hey John, how are shoes like juicers? Well, a lot of ways they're like juicers, trust me. Any case, here's an old pair of my shoes, they're kind of worn in, they're worn out on the certain heels, and, they're like, kind of like molded to my foot. You ever get a new pair of shoes, and they just don't fit right like your old ones, they kind of hurt in a little bit, and, that's until you get used to them and until you wear them in a little bit, then they kind of mold to your feet. So here's my old pair of shoes, right? So I was used to like walking in these pair of shoes. They're pretty nice and I liked them and easy to slip on, slip off and whatnot. So let's check out my other pair of shoes I got. So here's my new pair of shoes. Now check out these guys. These guys are called Vibram 5 Fingers. That's a whole nother episode. These are actually running shoes. And these don't fit a lot like those other ones. I mean, your feet start to hurt when you wear these because they're very thin. I mean, these are meant for runners, like barefoot runners from like Africa and stuff. There's a whole barefoot running movement, and they're definitely cool shoes, so you look into them. Once again, Vibram 5 Fingers. But the point is that, when you get a new pair of shoes or even a new juicer, you're used to how your old shoes fit, or you're used to how your old juicer worked. So hope you get the point there. The point is that, if you do get a new juicer, it's not going to be like your old one, and you may have some literally growing pains with your new juicer until you get used to how it works. Because say you've been using your old juicer for 10 years. I mean, that's like, just telling your wife to leave and get a new wife after 10 years, and then the new girl, the new wife, is totally different. All her, things, everything she does is totally different, right? So the new juicer is going to be totally different than your old one. So in that situation, in most cases, I actually recommend, if people are generally happy with their juicer, to stick with their juicer. Yes, I'm trying to talk you out of buying a new juicer because I want you to be happy, and that's my job, to make sure that you're happy with your juicer and that you're using it every day. There's nothing more important than using your juicer every day to drink fresh fruit and vegetable juice, because drinking fresh fruit and vegetable juice can make a substantial impact in your health, and it can increase your health massively, because everybody says we should be eating more fruits and vegetables, and most Americans actually don't eat enough fruits and vegetables. And juice is an excellent way to increase your vegetable consumption really easily. I mean, I could eat fruits all day long, but sometimes the vegetables I like to juice because it just makes it a lot easier. So you should only buy a juicer if, the one you're using, you just really don't like it or there's something wrong. I mean, there's always marketing things coming out with the new companies. They come out with new products every year, and there's the new juicer, and if you buy a juicer this year, next year there's going to be a new one. But you know what? If you got what works, like, you don't just want to trade in your wife, for a new one, right? You love her, you care for her, and that's all good. So don't trade in your old juicer. Don't buy a new juicer if you're totally satisfied with it. But the question arises, if you're not happy with your old juicer, maybe it's on its last legs, it's going to break down or something like that, well, then maybe you might want to consider a new juicer. So some reasons you might want to upgrade and get a new juicer is if your old juicer is not serving you. For example, if your juicer's on the last legs, the motor's not running all right, and it's going to blow out, well, then what I'd recommend is try to repair or fix your old juicer before you get a new one. So many juicers actually nowadays, well, this one only has a 1-year warranty, this has a 5-year, this has actually a 10-year, this has a 10-year, and that has a 5-year warranty. So your warranty on your juicer actually may still be valid, and the manufacturer may repair the juicer at no cost to you. And then you actually don't need to buy a new juicer if your old juicer is working. So that's step one, try to repair your old juicer. I don't believe in this disposable society that we live in. We should try to fix and repair things, if we can, if it's still going to serve us. But if not, then we need to get the upgrade. So if your machine is out of warranty, so say for example you got a Breville, has a 1-year warranty, a year and a half later it breaks, you find out to fix it would cost $200, well, you know what? That might be a good opportunity to invest in a different juicer with a longer warranty, for one, but to get one that's going to meet your needs. So for many people, when they get into juicing, they may have seen an infomercial on the TV. I know when I got into juicing, I saw the Juice Man infomercial and originally bought a Juice Man 2 juicer. Nowadays, they have like the Jack LaLanne juicer infomercial, and you may have seen that and got a Jack LaLanne, or you may have read chefs' reviews and other people's stuff, and you got a Breville. But you know what? Those are centrifugal ejection style machines. And if you've gotten used to that machine, then you've gotten used to a machine that actually makes fairly pulp-free juice. It actually runs at a higher RPM and basically oxidizes your juice a lot, but it makes a pulp-free juice. And it does do well at certain produce items. So like carrots and apples and other hard vegetables, it does an amazing job, and it does a good yield, and it juices fast, relatively easy to clean. And so you might want to stick with that if you're only juicing things like carrots and apples. You know, if you're juicing mostly carrots and apples, you might not want to get one of these machines because, you know, it's a lot harder to use and clean than one of these machines. So, you know, there are pluses and minuses to every juicer. And the problem is when you already own a juicer, you buy a new one, that new juicer is just not working like the same. So one of the common complaints I get, people that had a centrifugal ejection style juicer, whether it's a Breville, a Jack LaLanne, a Juice Man, or even like a Hamilton Beach from the department store, you know, most of these juices will actually produce a juice that has more pulp in the juice than that. So they're like, oh, those juicers aren't any good. I like the juicer, they didn't have any pulp. Well, you know what? Go back to your old juicer if that's going to serve you better, you know. Don't buy the new juicer. Don't get the upgrade. So say you have a centrifugal ejection style machine and then you want to get into juicing more leafy greens because you've heard that leafy greens are really nutritious and some of the best actually vegetables. So say you own one of the centrifugal ejection juicers and you want to get into juicing more leafy green vegetables because you heard they're some of the most nutrient dense foods on the planet. And that's absolutely true. Leafy green vegetables such as kale and collard and chard and watercress have some of the highest nutrition in them per calorie compared to anything else on the planet. I mean, if you think about how, you know, cows and stuff, how do they get so massive? Well, they eat grass all day if they're free range, you know. So if we juice the grass or juice the vegetables, then we could get all that nutrition too right into us. So in that case, then an upgrade may be warranted from like a centrifugal ejection. Say you own a Champion, you've had your Champion for 50 years, you know, and they've been making them that long. These things are still built like tanks. They do fairly well. But you know what? Say you have a Champion and you want to juice wheatgrass. Well, the Champion won't necessarily juice wheatgrass too well. So that's maybe when an upgrade may be warranted. The other thing you could do, you know, say you already own one juicer, say you have a centrifugal ejection juicer, and you want to juice leafy greens. Well, the perfect complement to one of these machines is like this machine right here, the Omega 8005, which is similar to the 8006 and 8004 and 8003. They do leafy greens really well, you know, and actually I think carrots are better juiced in this machine just from the sheer point of quicker and faster to juice and also actually a little bit higher yield and less pulp, of course. So the main issues, you know, that you're going to see if you do want to buy a new juicer are the cleaning time. Cleaning is going to be different on every machine. I mean, every machine has different parts to clean. I mean, this has parts there, this part comes off, you know, all these different parts to clean. So, you know, you want to make sure you get the juicer that's best going to meet your needs. So every juicer is going to have a different set of parts to clean and maybe more difficult and take more time to clean. In addition, some juicers may take longer to actually juice in. So for example, the Breville runs at 10,000 plus RPMs, or that's revolutions per minute. That's really fast. You're juicing relatively quickly, you know, you're done rather quickly. This machine here runs at 1725 RPM, so that's not quite as fast as that, but a lot faster than these guys here that run on average at about 80 RPMs, or the Green Star Elite here also runs at 80 RPMs. In addition, some machines, you know, if you're old and have arthritis in your arms and you can't really push too well, you know, this machine here, for example, and this machine, you know, require minimal pushing of produce. I mean, these machines are almost self-feeding. Whereas this machine, you don't want to get this machine because you really got to like almost push on the produce to get it in there. So basically what you want to do is you want to match the juicer that you're going to get with your needs. And, you know, and then be aware that the juicer will operate differently. And, you know, there are some easy solutions to some of the problems. One of the biggest problems I hear is, oh, John, I got this new juicer and it makes too pulpy juice. You know, the juice too pulpy. What do I do? Well, I'm just going to send it back and get a new one. Well, You know what? All juicers, if it's not a centrifugally ejection style juicer or like a Norwalk or a Wells press, is going to make a juice with pulp in it. You know, and pulp is not necessarily a bad thing. You know, it's fine to mix in the pulp with the juice. I mean, once again, also another thing that juicers create, all juicers make, is foam. Another thing, all juicers don't necessarily wring out that last bit of juice out of all the pulp unless it's a Norwalk or, once again, like a Wells press two-step juicer. And I have other videos on that if you want to check that out. So you just gotta like learn to be happy with it. I mean, just like that old pair of shoes, you know, it's got that hole in the back, like those shoes has a hole in the back, and if I wear those in the rain, my feet get wet, so I don't wear them in the rain. So you gotta kind of learn to work around, you know, your juicer. So if, you know, a juice makes more pulp than you want, no big deal. You could actually just put it through like a cheesecloth or what's called a nut milk bag or a sprout bag and squeeze out the juice out of that, and all the pulp will stay in the nut milk bag. Or you could use like a sieve or strainer to strain the juice out. No big deal. So why don't we go ahead and run down the line real quick on like juicers that make more pulp than others. So the Breville makes the least amount of pulp. Then I'd probably say, you know, the Green Star Elite makes the least amount of pulp. I mean, it does come with additional strainer. And, you know, actually these three machines actually come with additional strainers. So whether the strainer comes with a machine so that you could take the pulp out easily, or you buy another strainer, you know, you could use an additional strainer with any of the machines to basically take out more pulp and more of the foam. Probably the least. So after the Green Star Elite, I'd probably say like these two guys make the least amount of pulp, and then probably the pulpiest juice is gonna be made by the Omega Vert 350. So, you know, that could be good or bad. And, you know, if you're, once again, if you're used to like a juicer that made no pulp, then you might have an issue with it. But once again, you know, this video is focused for people that are, you know, thinking about buying a new juicer, not the newbie person, not a person that's never owned a juicer before. Actually, newbie people are really good because, you know, they have no expectations. When you already own a juicer and you go to buy a new juicer, you have such a high expectation because I want the new juicer to be like my old juicer plus more. And, you know, it's not always that way. So let's go over some situations where buying a new juicer or buying an upgraded juicer may be warranted. First situation is if you have like a department store juicer that you got from Walmart. You know, in my opinion, those machines are very underpowered and actually waste a lot of juice in the pulp because the pulp's actually too wet. So in that case, a new juicer may be warranted. In that case, that is a centrifugal ejection style juicer, so you might want to stick with a centrifugal ejection style juicer if, you know, that kind of juicer was working really well for you. Another reason why you might want to upgrade is, once again, if your juicer is on the last legs, if the motor's getting burnt out and there is no warranty. But also you should try to fix your, you know, your current juicer, because fixing your juicer may actually cost less than buying a new one. Another reason why to upgrade the juicer is if, you know, what you're juicing doesn't match the juicer itself. So for example, this style juicer, the centrifugal ejection style juicer, is really best at juicing, you know, hard vegetables, carrots, root vegetables, and hard fruits like apples. Say you want to juice leafy greens once again, well, you know, then an upgrade may be warranted to like one of these style machines that actually juice greens really well. Another reason why you might want to upgrade is get a higher quality juice. So say you want the highest quality juice and you have this style juicer that runs at, you know, 10,000 plus RPMs that tend to actually oxidize the juice a little bit more. Not to say that the juice made out of this juicer's, you know, bad. It's just not as good as maybe a machine that runs at a lower RPM, like 80 RPMs, for example. The final reason you might want to upgrade is if you're like one of those juice fanatics, you know, and I wouldn't even call myself a juice fanatic. If you're one of the juice fanatics and you want to get every last bit of juice out of the you know, produce you're putting in, and you want the absolute highest yield and highest quality, and you have a centrifugal ejection, then you might want to upgrade. I mean, then what would be warranted is like a Green Star Elite, or going with the two-stage system such as a Samson juicer and a Wells press. And I do have a video on that if you want to check it out. That'll get the driest pulp and some of the highest quality juice. Some of the reasons you don't want to upgrade, once again, are say you own a juicer and, you know, hey, you're generally happy with the juicer, but, you know, this marketing stuff came out that said I could get, you know, X% more juice, or, you know, X% higher nutrition in that juice. You know what? I would just throw away the marketing fluff. The marketing fluff is there to sell you more juicers and sell you more stuff that you may not need. If you're generally happy with your machine, just keep it and use it regularly. So another situation that might happen is, say you hear the Green Star Elite juicer is quote unquote the best. And, you know, you just think, oh, I'm just gonna buy the best. Well, you know what? I wish there was something as such as the best juicer. It would make my job a lot easier. I could retire from making juicer videos. But you know what? No matter what anybody says, one juicer may or may not be better than another one. And I wish there was truly a best juicer that did it all and that was easy to clean and all this kind of stuff. But you know what? You want to take marketing hype and other YouTube videos with a grain of salt. I mean, I try to provide a realistic user expectation and explain the machines in all my videos to the best of my ability, and show the pros and cons of each machine so that you can make the best and most informed decision. Of course, the brand themselves, Tribest is going to say their juicers are the best, Omega is going to say theirs are the best, Breville is going to say theirs are the best, and Champion is going to say theirs are the best. It's only for you to decide which one is going to best meet your needs. Another reason why you shouldn't necessarily upgrade is if you hear a juicer is easier to clean. Every manufacturer, no matter what, always in the sell sheets or their literature will put easy to clean. The Champion puts it, the Green Star Elite puts it, Omega, everybody puts easy to clean. So just because the manufacturer puts the juicer is quote unquote easy to clean, doesn't mean it's always easy to clean. And so here are my results and what I find. So for me, the easiest juicer to clean on this whole table right here, Omega 8005, 8003, which are the same thing, or the upgraded models, which are actually the same exact thing, a little bit better machine, 8004 and 8006. They take me about a minute and a half to clean. Next easiest, in my opinion, is the Omega Vert juicer. That takes me about 3 minutes to clean. Then next would be the Champion juicer. That's probably also a little bit over 3 minutes to clean. Then next, the Breville juicer. That's definitely more than 3 minutes. And then finally, the one that's most difficult to clean on this table is the Green Star Elite. It just has the most parts and has the most pieces and nooks and crannies to get in to clean. So if you are going to get an upgrade and buy a new juicer, before you do, I highly encourage you to watch as many of my videos that I produce as possible. I have over 150 videos here on YouTube demonstrating all the different kinds of juicers. In addition to watching the videos to see how the juicers work and maybe see which juicer resonates with you or which one has the features that you're going to like and desire the most. The other thing, if you are still confused, email me directly. You got to tell me though, what juicer you have, why you want to upgrade, and what specifically you juice and what you want to do with the juicer. I could then put all my experience of using all the different kinds of juicers to work, and I could reply to you and maybe give you some recommendations on the best kind of juicer that I think that'll work for you. And I highly encourage you to do this before you just go out and blatantly buy another juicer and then you're not happy with it, because then I haven't done my job. So hopefully you're going to watch all my videos, email me before you make your juicer selection, and I'll help you out, and that's what I'm here for. So once again, this is John Kohler with DiscountJuicers.com. Be sure to visit DiscountJuicers.com/YouTube for special promotional offers for our YouTube visitors.